point in Grand Canyon last night. They mount a late comeback, but Grand Canyon was able to hold on and win by 1. They'll be back on Saturday in Las Vegas taking on UNLV. That game will be at 1 o'clock with Schaefer on the call, and Fletch will get you going pregame starting at noon. And the Lake Show are back tonight taking on their crosstown rivals at the Intuit Dome, taking on the Clippers. Lakers are currently a 1.5 point favorite in that one. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 7 o'clock after the coaches show tonight. Imagine what you can find on eBay, like a rare hologram trading card that you become totally obsessed with, shiny like the designer handbag of your dreams. eBay has it. They even have the perfect parts that will fit your car. Millions of finds, each with a story. Find it at eBay.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Thursday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to take over then, fresh off his trip out to Phoenix, Arizona, where San Diego State fell by 1 point last night on a brutal last-second decision from some referees, and some missed field goals would doom San Diego State. We will get into that game today absolutely a ton. We're also going to be talking with the one, the only, the legendary Coach John Kentera.
Coachy
is going to be jumping on coming up at 12:30. Alan Sliwa at 1:30 today to talk about the Lakers and the drama out in La La Land, plus a huge matchup tonight between the Lakers and the Clippers. Should be a fun one coming up for you. We also have tickets to give away. Charlie Puth, how about that? Coming up April 22nd at Viejas Arena. Tickets to info at Ticketmaster.com. We'll be giving you a pair today on the show. Also a pair of tickets to San Diego State, Colorado State coming up next Wednesday, 7:30 at Viejas Arena. All right, Sammy Long, you ready to have a good show?
We're ready, baby.
Are you ready to have an excellent show?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's get started with the San Diego State Aztecs. Look, last night's game was kind of a whirlwind of emotions, wasn't it? The first half, San Diego State outplayed Grand Canyon. I'm fine saying that for the first half of play in this game. Grand Canyon just made 6 threes in the first half, so the score was pretty much even by the time halftime rolled around. And then in the second half, something bizarre happened. All of a sudden, Grand Canyon couldn't miss a shot and San Diego State couldn't make a shot. And we're sort of used to that. We've seen these Aztecs go through some scoring slumps, but you trust they're going to fight back and find ways to win games. And that's exactly what they did last night. They fought back from down 12 in the second half. Huge plays coming from Miles Bird, who's been on fire lately. Huge plays coming from BJ Davis, who just has that clutch gene in him. And then San Diego State takes a 1 point lead with not very much time left on the clock. And BJ Davis goes to the free throw line with an opportunity at a 1-and-1 to make a couple of free throws, to make it a 3-point game and make it so a 3 would be the only thing that could tie that game up. BJ Davis misses the front end. He's like an 87% free throw shooter. He missed 2 front ends of 1-and-1s, or I think one was an and one, and then one was a 1-and-1 late in that game. And that opened up the window for Grand Canyon to mount a bit of a comeback. And they, with 9 seconds left on the clock, run the length of the court, get into the paint, force the referee to make the decision, and the referee makes the wrong decision. I don't know how many times I've watched that replay over the last 24 hours, but I can confidently say that was a bad call from the officials out in Grand Canyon. And maybe the crowd impacted it, sure. Maybe Tay Simmons got a hand on the neck a little bit, sure. But that was a bad call made by a referee who's been very, very good so far this season. Mark Ziegler had the note before the game, but the 3 refs that were doing the Aztecs game last night were the 3 highest rated grouping of referees, or at least one of the highest rated grouping of referees there's been in college basketball this year, not just the Mountain West. And for that to come down to that, for San Diego State to charge back, take the lead, and yes, miss an opportunity at the free throw line, but to get called on a ticky-tack foul to let Grand Canyon finish the game at the line, kind of a putrid way to finish, man. Left a bad taste in my mouth all night long. Sammy, I don't know about you, man. That sucked.
Yeah, it was obviously a bummer. You feel like the Aztecs, if there was literally 30 more seconds of game time, that they would have taken back the lead. Because you're right, they played excellent basketball the first half. You knew Grand Canyon was going to go on a run at some point, because when you're playing in such a tough home court crowd and advantage, which it is there in Grand Canyon. But credit to the Aztecs, the catalyst for coming back, just like when Grand Canyon couldn't miss a shot coming out of the break. Then they kind of started playing the inside out game when I believe it was 61-49. Miles Bird was really kind of penetrating the defense, kicking it out. And that was big that they were able to do that, especially not having Magoon Guap, because that's kind of the guy when you want to play inside out who you're going to go to. It was a bummer them coming up short. Yeah, I'm with you on the foul call. It felt pretty crazy to call that at that moment. It was not an egregious foul call where it felt like you had to. And I really feel like if that game's in San Diego, they're not getting that foul call.
Absolutely.
I kind of related to, you and I are big fight fans. The hometown fighter lands a glancing shot and the crowd goes crazy, and the other fighter lands big shots and they're silent because they want their guy to win. It really felt like the refs were a little did not have a good night last night. And it sucks to see a game that was that competitive and the Aztecs fight back in, take a lead there with 30 seconds to go off the Sticks and Waters layup, to have it end on free throws was just it was a gross way to end a great basketball game. And obviously, we didn't come out on top, so bit of a bummer there. But listen, they fought. Tough road environment. You wish you could have picked one of these tough road matchups, which are upcoming, off early, but unfortunately they weren't able to do it last night.
So here is, and I would agree with you. I don't like to be the guy who comes on the next day and complains about the refs. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but in this situation, I don't find another way to do it. And we should have known before the game, right? Because Mark Ziegler puts out the tweet. This is exactly what it says, so I don't get this wrong. After a week of nobody, San Diego State gets an A+ officiating crew for tonight's game at Grand Canyon. Keith Kimball, ranked number 2 in KenPom ref ratings. Brian Dorsey, number 5. Jeffrey Anderson, number 11. You get 3 top 15 refs in the country doing your game tonight, because it was huge. You think about what Grand Canyon's done over the last couple of weeks. They knock off Utah State, who was number 23 in the country at the time they knocked them off. And then you have San Diego State coming to your home arena. This is one of the bigger games on the Mountain West schedule for the entire season. So you get the great referees in, and they still make that mistake. And I wouldn't have that much of a problem with it if the proper official called the play. But it wasn't him. It was not the guy trailing from behind the play. It was the dude in the opposite corner of the damn court who made the call. And it was a missed call. It was a bad call. And they got to live with that. I'm sure Brian Dutcher and the Aztecs have sent the tape into the Mountain West for review, and that's going to change exactly nothing. It is a loss on San Diego State's record. Now, the good news is, if you're a KenPom nerd like myself or John Schaefer or Sammy Long, the Aztecs actually bumped up in KenPom over the night because of different results around college basketball.
Well, I think to your point, why it leaves a bad taste, if you would have said to anyone, okay, you're 7-1 in Mountain West Conference play, you go on the road in a tough Grand Canyon environment and lose by 1, you go, all right, it sucks, but at least they fought. The way the game ended, now the other flip side of it is
they free throws.
Right, you got to make free throws, and if you are going to give a team in that home that is talented with that home court advantage, that big of a lead, a 12-point lead with 7-10 minutes to go, you're constantly kind of have an uphill battle. But for it to end like that, when the Aztecs came all the way back and then to end on free throws was disappointing.
Well, the cruddy part about it is, imagine San Diego State is left off of March Madness because of that one game.
Right.
And that ends up being that one game. And that one game boils down to that 1 second and that one missed call. There's a million different things you can point to in the game. I remember a missed layup in the first half for San Diego State. I remember a missed foul call early in the game where Miles Bird got a clean block and Farrell Compton somehow got called for a foul. And that put Farrell at 2 fouls and he got sent to a bench. There's a million different things that you can point at. And that's kind of the thing we love and hate about sports at the same time, is sometimes it does come down to one whistle, one play, one misstep. And that's what happened last night for San Diego State. So it stinks, but guess what? You can't let one loss become 2 losses, because coming up next, you're on the road at UNLV, and San Diego State's played really well in Vegas over the last decade or so. But UNLV also just beat Utah State. So it doesn't get any easier in the Mountain West calendar. And by the way, 9 days from now, you're playing against Utah State. So how can you make sure that this loss, which, man, I got to imagine that's emotional, especially for a guy like BJ Davis, who's a big part of the reason they fought back into that game, for him to miss the 2 free throws late in it, understanding what those 2 free throws ended up meaning. It's got to be an emotional way to lose, but now you have to almost have that NBA mentality, turn it off, get ready for the next one, because you got a damn good challenge coming up in UNLV. All right, man, that was frustrating all night, Sammy. I'm glad I was able to get that out a little bit. Well, it's the fact that it was the dude in the corner who made the call.
Right. In to the point about, listen, the Aztecs have probably been on the fortunate end this year of in Mountain West play of tight games. In the Boise State game, the Nevada game, the New Mexico game, they have come out on top. When you're playing with fire, and listen, everyone knew that game was going to be tight. Vegas told you the Aztecs were a 1.5 point favorite. It flipped to the Grand Canyon being 1.5 by game time. So it was basically a pick 'em matchup. You knew it was going to be tight. But again, when you're playing with fire, when you get down double digits in the second half, you bring an uphill battle, and then you bring BS calls like this into play because you need everything to go your way at the end. The Aztecs, unfortunately, weren't able to capitalize, but everything's still in front of them. It just sucks because last night would have been, if we would have come on today with a win there,
huge.
You're sitting there going, oh, the Aztecs are sitting pretty. They'll have to make up their ground.
By the way, now Aztec fans, you have become the biggest Grand Canyon fan on the planet. You need Grand Canyon to bump their way into the top 75, so that becomes a quad 1 loss and not a quad 2 loss. Right now, I believe they're sitting somewhere around 81, 82. You need them to be top 75, so that becomes a quad 1 loss on your resume towards the end of the season. So essentially, every time Grand Canyon is out, and except for the time they come to Viejas Arena, you are looking for Grand Canyon to win and to win big. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We got great ticket giveaways coming up on the show today. We'll tell you all about them coming up next. But right now, it's time for the big three, where Sammy rips through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big three.
All right, where are we going, Sammy Long?
The Pittsburgh Steelers just interviewed Mike McCarthy today. Now, the coaching tree is getting thin. Obviously, John Harbaugh is going to New York. Mike Tomlin, is per all reports, will not be coaching next year. Will be taking a TV job. Mike McDaniel spurns a lot of head coaching opportunities to become the OC of the Chargers. But Mike McCarthy would be one of the most established names on the head coaching market. Do you like the fit in Pittsburgh, or would you go somewhere else?
There's a couple ways to look at it. The way I look at it is, you remember that year off Mike McCarthy took after he got fired from the Green Bay Packers? And he talked about how he was getting in the lab. He was in his basement. He was watching film every day. He was totally redesigning what we think NFL offenses should look like. I'm not kidding. That is what he was saying when he came back for a coaching search. And then the Cowboys hired him. We're all like, all right, let's see what Mike McCarthy has done. He's a Super Bowl winner. He said he's redesigned the way we think NFL offenses should look like. How'd that work out for the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy? We've seen this before. I think Mike McCarthy kind of got carried to the one Super Bowl he won by having an absolute generational Hall of Fame no-doubter in Aaron Rodgers, who had one of the best seasons of his career the year they went to the Super Bowl. So I don't really understand the fit, if I'm being completely honest. I think Mike McCarthy, I thought we moved past him. I really did. I thought that stop in Dallas was the last we would hear from him as an NFL head coach. If you're the Steelers, you would think you would want to go the opposite direction. And what have they done with every head coaching hire, with Bill Cowher, with Mike Tomlin? Those weren't head coaches before. We really hadn't heard of them before. And then they were 20-year fits. Find that guy.
I hate this if I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. If I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I would be so mad today because I thought the whole get rid of Mike Tomlin, well, you know, him deciding to part ways, but it was basically a fire, was you want to go young. To what you just said, you want to find the young hotshot offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator that is kind of the new wave of thinking in the NFL. Going back to Mike McCarthy, who the game feels like has passed him by after Aaron Rodgers, he does have a Super Bowl ring, but he wins one ring in Green Bay, wasn't very inventive in Dallas. Like, why wouldn't you have just kept Mike Tomlin then? If you're going with a veteran head coach, then I want the guy who has a winning record every year and always puts his team in position to win. And although that frustrates Pittsburgh Steelers fans because they're never picking at a spot where they're going to be able to be getting a franchise-altering quarterback, I think this would be a horrible hire. I think this is a complete step back. If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going young. I'm going Cliff Kingsbury. I would have thrown everything at Mike McDaniel. Obviously, he's going to the Chargers. I think this is a terrible fit whatsoever. Our Steeler fan, Jamar, chiming in right here.
Says get McCarthy all the way out of here. No, thank you.
I don't understand how you sell that to moving on Mike Tomlin for a guy who has less pedigree and is also on the older side.
And by the way, Jamar throws out two pretty good names, Shula or Flores. Those are decent options. Like, right. Brian Flores is out there. It was a bad run in Miami for Brian Flores, but I do think he's sort of paid his due for that and is a really, really great defensive mind. Where was he this year? Was he with Minnesota again?
With Minnesota, and he just redid a deal to become the defensive coordinator again, but there are still outs. If he gets a job with Pittsburgh or a couple other spots, he will not be the DC.
I'm telling you, man, that's not a bad idea. I don't understand the McCarthy thing at all.
Let's go to Major League Baseball. So the Mets have acquired ace pitcher Freddie Peralta. Mets are kind of loading up, looking like a pretty good team next year. But there was a prospect list. The top 100 prospects in baseball came out yesterday. The Padres have one. is Ethan Salas. So he dropped from 31 to 90 because of the back injury sustained all last year. I don't mean to laugh. It's I don't even know where to go. Like, the Padres are not spending money. They have no prospects to trade. I don't know where they go. Like, I genuinely don't know what the next step is.
Who knows what the next step is, but here's the problem. And nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to talk about this. This is what happens when you go all in. And that's exactly what Peter Seidler did. He went all in. And at the time, very happily and jovially, I said, let's go embrace the decade of suck that comes later, because right now this is going to be a lot of fun. Well, what the counteract of that is you are going to have a destroyed farm system. And if you don't win a World Series, you kind of just bet it all for nothing. And so San Diego Padres, if this is the year they can win a World Series, all is forgiven. You deal with the terrible farm system. But am I the only one who kind of thinks that was a couple years ago that they needed to win the World Series? And it's a bad spot to be in. I promise you. I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan. I understand what it's like, understanding that a couple years ago should have been the year you won the Super Bowl. I'm also a Padres fan, and it's kind of hard to take off the blinders and understand that a couple years ago was probably the year you should have won the World Series. And we knew that this was all coming, and it's starting to come.
Well, it's just AJ Preller is going to get blamed, and he's not to blame. We were talking with Kevin Acee a week or two before the trade deadline last year, where the Padres were the big winners of the day, made all these moves that no one really thought was feasible. And there was a narrative that the Padres wouldn't have prospects to trade in that. And he was pulling rabbits out of his you-know-what and put the Padres in a position to go win. And unfortunately, that didn't work out for everyone in San Diego. But the Dodgers get all the headlines for spending money, and they spend money like an addict. But the Mets are spending money too. The Mets just signed Bo Bichette, and they just got Freddie Peralta. Like, they're gearing up to go beat the Dodgers. These teams, the Yankees are spending money. Just re-signed Cody Bellinger. Toronto is spending money. All these teams are spending money to go try to compete with the Dodgers. And I know the Padres are in a spot where they don't have a TV deal and they don't have the same kind of money to spend, but it just feels like running the same thing back over and over again. And are the Padres going to have a good team this year? Yeah. Like, they're going to be a relevant team. They might be a playoff team. It just is all these other teams are making moves. Arizona, the Giants, and it just feels like the Padres are standing by. And unfortunately for AJ Preller, because they're not letting him spend money, because he already shipped all the prospects out of town, there's not really any moves to make unless you were going to reset the franchise and trade one of the big fishes, which I don't know that that's going to happen.
I don't know, man. It's not an easy spot to be in. You kind of feel like you almost have to just run out with the team they have right now. Maybe add a pitcher. Maybe AJ Preller can do the Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Nick Pivetta type of thing that he's really good at. If we're being honest about AJ Preller, maybe he can do that again and find a pitcher to come in here. But you're going to need a lot of hope going into this year that Joe Musgrove can get back to being Joe Musgrove and pitch 30 games for you this year. You're going to need a lot of hope that a lot of people can do. But we'll see, man. I don't have a lot of faith in the Padres as of right now. All right, Sammy, we're going to take a quick break here. I will let you know, if you want to win tickets, we are your spot. Feeling very generous. Sammy Claus is out, and it's
Sammy Claus 22nd. Here, giving out gifts to the children in late January.
Absolutely. We got a pair of tickets to San Diego State, Colorado State next Wednesday. We got a pair of tickets for Charlie Puth on April 22nd. So don't go anywhere. These tickets will be given out. We have a ton of YouTube comments that we will get to on the other side as well. But right now, I would like to talk to everybody about Valley View Casino and Hotel. Sammy, we're planning on heading out to Valley View coming up on Saturday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get some drinks, some steaks. I don't know. We're going to go crazy with Travis Dale. And you can join Valley View Casino and join the Players Club at any time. It's free. It's easy. And all players who sign up for the Players Club, you're going to receive over $200 in free offers the second you sign up. Like more play, that's free slot play, $10 of match play, $20 to the Black and Blue Steakhouse, where I think I'm going to get some firecracker shrimp this weekend, baby. But don't forget to join Valley View Casino and check out that Black and Blue Steakhouse. $75. That's what it takes right now. You can enjoy an incredible 3-course meal from their signature menu. Dining specials are available 4 nights a week, Thursday through Sunday, starting at 4:30 p.m. So make your reservation at the Black and Blue Steakhouse, which was voted the best casino steakhouse in all of San Diego. And while you're there, don't forget to join the Players Club to get those $200 in free offers I was telling you about. Free offers like more play, $10 of it. That's free slot play, $10 of match play, and $20 off your meal at the Black and Blue Steakhouse. The more you use your Players card, on all your favorite slots or table games, the more rewards you're going to earn, like complimentary dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, and invitations to exclusive events. So don't miss out. Visit Valley View Casino and Hotel. Join the Ultimate Players Club to get over $200 of free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. Coming up next, we will get to some of your comments. Plus, the coach, Kentera, is jumping on at 1:30. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances today for you to win $1,000 in cold hard cash with the bonus bucks giveaway. Actually, I think it's a check, but you get the point. Every hour from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword. Enter it at sportssd.com. Next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We were just talking about the Padres. We went down a dark path there for a quick second, but let's see if we can turn this thing around. We go to the YouTube comments where brightness comes. John Silva chiming in saying this season is a wash, in my opinion. Then 2027 will be locked out. Total reset. Look,
It's
I'm telling you.
not a terrible idea.
These contracts are all getting worse, really outside of Tatis. And with Tatis, you just have to hope that it gets better, right? But at least he's entering into his prime of his physical career. The other contracts are all exiting.
The excitement about Tatis is everyone thinks that he can get back to the season he had 3 or 4 years ago. Now, do I think he can? 100%.
Dude, I'm telling, like 2020 Fernando Tatis Jr., COVID season Fernando Tatis Jr. is the most fun I've had watching baseball in my life.
Well, he was going to be, outside of Shohei Ohtani, the next superstar in the league. And not that he isn't a superstar in the league now.
Gatorade endorsement, Mercedes-Benz. He was everywhere.
It feels a lot like it's just, these are two very different comparisons because obviously Fernando Tatis has not had this kind of like off the field issues.
Well,
steroids, but not to, I'm going to make a comparison to John Morant. Both have all the outside. I'm not
just wait till Padre fans see an Instagram story with Fernando with a gun, dude. They'll lose their minds.
No, I want to make it very clear. I'm not talking about guns. I'm talking about John Morant, Fernando Tatis Jr. have all the talent in the world to be one of the best players in the game. And it just feels like the last couple of years, despite all the talent for various reasons, Fernando steroids, John Morant for off the court issues, it has just felt like stunted growth. And it's a shame because you really feel like Fernando Tatis could be the guy in the league.
Yeah, he could. Sir Will from the 619 saying Mackenzie Gore heading to the Texas Rangers. What could have been.
Breaking news right now by Jeff Passan.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of speak out of both sides of my mouth right now, but like, I do not regret the Padres doing the Mackenzie Gore trade because it did net you Juan Soto.
Right.
That was a big deal at the time. You thought it was helping you win a World Series.
Preller would have been fired if they found out that he could have had him and didn't make the deal.
Exactly right. And for all the years that Mackenzie Gore was labeled as untouchable, that was literally the word. It was like Mackenzie Untouchable Gore. It was like it was his middle name for a little bit. Everything has a price. And yeah, but then I started thinking, imagine a team that had Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson, Farrell Merrill, and Mackenzie Gore all on the same team under reasonable contracts.
Or James Woods, the best player of them all, CJ Abrams. And again, it's hard to have revisionist history because you know that a lot of prospects don't work out. Look at the prospect that was traded from Mookie Betts from the Dodgers to the Red Sox, didn't even make the majors. So it's hard to have revisionist.
It is tough though when you see Mackenzie Gore starting a bunch of games, Robert Hassel almost
all the three dudes in the trade,
CJ Abrams is sick,
are stars. That's what's hard to stomach is all three guys were could be absolute superstars. And if you had those guys on this team now, I mean, you'd be up there with the Dodgers as World Series favorites.
And your next 5 years would look pretty damn good. Imagine like Manny Machado's a supplemental piece. Oh my God.
Right.
Now you're relying on Manny to be the superstar. All right, and one more from Jay Sills. It's a good point before we get to Coach Kentera saying the ownership lawsuit dilemma has to be playing a large role in the lack of moves. I would say everything is stemming from the ownership lawsuit dilemma because the team is being sold partially because of the ownership lawsuit dilemma. Like I almost feel like the lawsuit has started to take the back seat because of the fact that the team they're trying to be sold. Like there's a lot more problems that come with being sold. It's just a stressful time. All right, by the way, today's load up day. The trucks are loaded up heading out to Peoria. So hope springs eternal. Am I right, people?
Yeah. No, listen.
You ever been out to spring training?
Oh yeah. Total. I've been out to multiple games when I was out there last summer.
Oh yeah, I always forget you lived in Arizona. All right, well, we'll check in with Coach Kentera coming up next. Talk some more Padres as we get ready for yet another season of Padres baseball, baby. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Aztecs lose a heartbreaker last night on the road at Grand Canyon, 70-69. They dropped to 13-5 on the season. They'll be back on Saturday in the afternoon at 1:00 right here on San Diego Sports 760 as they're in Vegas taking on the UNLV running Rebels, and the Lakers battle Los Angeles tonight in taking on the Clippers at the Intuit Dome. Lakers slight favorites at 1.5 with the point total set at 222.5. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 starting at 7:00 after the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2:00 today. John Schaefer is going to take over then. And tonight at 6:00, it's the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show. Aztecs head coach chatting with John Schaefer about last night's tough loss that Sammy was just telling you about at Grand Canyon, as well as many more talking points. Brian Dutcher Coaches Show Thursdays at 6:00 right here on your home for the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. And with that, we welcome on the coach, the legend, John Kentera, jumping on with us. Coach, it's been a while. How the heck are you? It's good to talk to you.
I'm doing well, Fletch. You and Sammy doing a good job. I get an opportunity to listen to you guys quite a bit when I'm driving around. Keep up the great work. And we're getting to a fun time of year as we get a little bit deeper into college basketball. Of course, we got the Super Bowl coming up, but hey, spring training not too far away.
Not too far away. In fact, today is truck day. There's about 500 pairs of socks, 300 batting helmets, 12,000 baseballs, all getting loaded onto trucks at Petco Park and heading out to Peoria today. So, Coach, I guess let's just go blanket first and foremost. What have your thoughts been about this Padres offseason? Not that much has happened.
Well, not a lot's happened, but, I think signing the Sun Moon Song, I kind of going to be interested to see how he progresses. And, there's no guarantee he's going to make the roster. I think the big surprise, and I think even if you talk to a lot of people in the Padre organization, which I have talked to, they're surprised Michael King's coming back. I think you got to give the ownership a little credit. You got to give AJ Preller and Josh Stein in the front office a lot of credit. They had a good relationship with Michael King, and it really sounded like the day before Michael signed with the Padres, he was either going to Boston, New York, or Baltimore. Next thing you know, he's sitting at a table at Petco Park signing a new contract. So that's good news. You get Joe Musgrove back. Granted, we don't know exactly what to expect out of Joe. I don't think he's going to be back to being the old Joe Musgrove right away, but, within time, and they bring him along slow. We got another solid pitcher to go along with Pavetta, and, see how the staff rounds out. I don't think AJ's done necessarily. I think we're kind of waiting to see how the market filters out. I'll tell you one guy, and just before I came on, I heard that Mackenzie Gore may be on his way from Washington to the Texas Rangers in a 5-for-1 deal. I was kind of hoping that AJ was going to try to come up with a package to get Mackenzie Gore back, but it looks like he's going to Texas. But they got to get more pitching. I think their everyday lineup's good. I guess the question would be their backup catcher. Bullpen's going to be great. We got a good ball club here, and I think we got to forget about what the Dodgers are doing. We got to worry more about what the Padres are doing.
Coach, where do you see them stacking right now in the NL West? The Dodgers figure to be at the top, but the Giants, Diamondbacks bring a lot of pieces back. Where are you seeing the Padres fitting in that picture?
Well, I think the Padres right now, for me, and again, I know with them over in Arizona getting Arenado, Nolan's not the same player he was, 5 years ago, but you never know. You get the old proverbial change of scenery. He's a hard-working guy, puts a lot of pressure on himself. He's also going to hitter-friendly ballpark, so maybe he can get back to being the old Nolan Arenado. We'll have to wait and see, but I think right now I got to see the Padres finishing behind the Dodgers. I think it's going to be pretty much status quo from a year ago. Giants really haven't done anything all that significant. I think Arizona's got a good ball club. Their biggest problem is they got a bad bullpen. They've had a bad bullpen for a long period of time over there, and I think the Padres have a tremendous advantage in that area over the Diamondbacks. So I think right now Padres should be a playoff team again this year, unless they suffer a significant injury or guys really underperform. And I don't see that happening. I see Josh Merrill, or Jackson Merrill, I should say, coming back. Hopefully he has a good year. I would hope Fernando would hit with more power this year. You got a full season of Ramon Laureano. And, I guess the big question with the Padres' everyday lineup will be first base. Who's going to play first base? Right now it's Gavin Sheets. Who's DHing? Don't know. Could be Gavin Sheets, or it could be a player that's not even on the roster right now. So don't ever underestimate what AJ Preller and his staff are working on.
Coach Kentera joining us today here on San Diego Sports 760, talking some Padres on the day the trucks are getting loaded up and heading out to Peoria for spring training. Coach, I know you're really well read and tuned into everything that's going on around the world of Major League Baseball, but did you happen to see that Forbes article by Barry Bloom kind of talking about the future where the Padres may not necessarily be in San Diego? And I hesitated to even talk about it on air with myself and Sammy because it was just a lot of ifs in that article. But I was wondering what your reaction was to it.
Well, I know Barry very well, and I get everything that Barry writes. We're friends. And of course, he once upon a time was a sports editor of the Union Tribune. And, Barry in that article does what I do when I'm cooking the soup. I stir it on the stove. I mean, he was just stirring things up a little bit. I know the owner of Golden State, Joe Lacob. He is a guy that wanted to buy the Giants a few years ago. It wasn't for sale. I guess for people that don't follow it on a daily basis, Fletch, they probably got a little concerned, but I'm not concerned. I don't think he's buying this ball club, and whoever does buy this ball club, they'd have to be an idiot to move it out of San Diego with the fan support here. Are you kidding me?
Coach, I know you said Padres should focus, a little bit less on what the Dodgers are doing and more on themselves, but I do want to ask you, Kyle Tucker going to the Dodgers, what do you make of a lot of people say, it's too overpowered, the MLB really needs to change? Where do you stand on salary cap and all that?
Well, I think, the players aren't going to like me when I say this. Number one, I'm not a big salary cap guy, but I think in baseball, when you look at what's going on right now, you got the haves and the have-nots. You also got owners with some of the lower division ball clubs. They're just hanging on to money. They don't try to win. They put out just a good enough a product so people buy season tickets and come and eat hot dogs and pay for parking and all that. But there's a lot of teams that they don't go to the mat to try to win baseball games. But you know what, Sammy? I'd say that in all sports. Having covered professional sports for going on 40 years now, there's some really good owners that want to win. There's some other owners that are just happy to have a ball club, and then there's other owners that just want to make win enough of ball games so the fans will stay interested, they stay relevant in their community. But as far as the salary cap, I think the owners for the very, very first time, along with Rob Manfred, they're going to work hard on that salary cap. I also think there has to be a floor as well where certain teams have to spend at least X amount of dollars. The other thing, and I know the players they'd be screaming bloody murder, but how about you get your money, you get some guaranteed money, and the other part of it's like it is in the NFL or the NBA. You produce, you stay. You don't produce, you get cut. You only get your guaranteed money. I think that's the way it goes. That keeps guys from, getting a big contract and resting on their laurels. I believe in giving guys money for what they're going to do, not what they have done. And I think we've seen these long-term contracts, more than not, usually don't work out all that well for most teams.
It does feel like we're headed for a dramatic shift in the world of Major League Baseball, and I don't know what it is, but I hope we get at least some of the 2027 baseball season when that comes. All right, Coach, something very cool happening down at Petco Park this weekend. Saturday, I think it gets started at 11 a.m. You can get free tickets at padres.com/events. There's also going to be free parking, which around San Diego right now doesn't feel possible, but there's going to be free parking for this as well. And Coach Kentera, you're going to be speaking at it, which is very, very cool. So Randy Jones, beloved Padres pitcher, broadcaster, ambassador, he passed away on November 18th. I think we had you on the very next day, Coach, but you get to speak at this event coming up on Saturday. What do you think fans can expect?
Well, I expect, number one, a lot of fans to come out. I know there's not a ball game that day, but I would hope that a lot of fans would come out. Maybe a lot of the older fans that were young like me back in the day. Fletch, I was in my junior and senior year in 75 and 76 at Torrey Pines High School. And whenever Randy pitched, unless you had a game yourself, you'd find a way to get to the ballpark, whether it was a night game, a day game, and many a time we'd jump in our car at 11:30 at lunch break at Torrey Pines if we didn't have something dynamic in sixth period that day, and we'd go to the ballpark to see Randy pitch. It was a must. People that never envisioned seeing Randy pitch, not only was a great pitcher those 2 years, but the impact that he had on San Diego baseball. We didn't have a lot, Fletch. We weren't good. We never, hadn't been a 500 ball club, and Randy came on the scene after some real struggles. The year before, he went 8-22. He just went to spring training hoping to get a job. He ended up having this fantastic year in 75 where he won the ERA title. The following year, he pitched and, I ended up winning the Cy Young, but he kind of blew his arm out that year. He was never really the same after 76. He threw 315 and I think 2/3 innings that year after coming off a 285 the year before. Spent a few more years with the Padres, then went to the Mets and finished up. But, 75 and 76 were his two big years. But the impact that he had on that franchise back then, he was our first national star, number one. But, I've thought a lot about Randy since he passed away. And, I am speaking. I'm very honored that Marie and the girls have asked me to speak because we became very, very close friends. And, I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I've had over the last couple of weeks thinking about what I want to say. You get about 5 or 6 or 7 minutes to speak. And there's so many things that Randy and I did over the last 25 years together on the air, off the air, in the community. And I just hope our community will come out and honor this man because he was a man that baseball was who everybody knew him for. But really, he was an unbelievable community member. He never said no. It didn't matter what function it was or charity. Randy always wanted to come by and at least shake hands and say hello to people. He was a very, very special man and a very, very unique man.
Yeah, the handful of times I got to talk to Randy, I feel the same way, man. He was just so gracious to me early on when I moved here. And a really great guy who passed away. And Coach, I'm glad you're going to be able to speak. And I have a feeling there's no chance in hell you are sticking to a 6-minute limit. No shot. Well, Coach, tickets are free. Like I said, Padres.com/events. You can claim your tickets, free parking as well. Go see Coach and go honor Randy Jones, who was an excellent Padre, an excellent guy here in San Diego. Thank you for your time today, Coach. Appreciate you. Hope all is going well in your world.
Hey, Fletch, can I just say one thing?
Absolutely.
Aztecs got totally homered on that last. You can't make that call as a college basketball official. That was absolutely horrendous how that basketball game finished last night.
Yeah, I hesitated to even start the show with the call today, Coach, because I never want to be that guy who just leans on referees as the reason a team won or lost a game. But it was so egregious last night, and it was the wrong official who made the call. That's the part that makes me the most upset. It wasn't the guy trailing behind you would usually see make that call. It was the guy in the back left corner who was looking across the entire key who made the call on the opposite side of the court. Very frustrating, and what a way to lose a 1-point ball game. And oh man, it's ticked me off the last 24 hours.
Put it this way, I know Brian Dutcher is going to be on tonight. He'll talk around it because he doesn't want to get reprimanded or fined. So I'll say what Dutch would like to say. They got totally homered. I think the crowd influenced that call. How about that?
I like it. I like it a lot, Coach. All right, we got to take a break, but thank you for your time. We will be right back. We got a giveaway coming up for you next. Charlie Puth tickets, Viejas Arena, April 22nd. Those are coming right after Long Shots with Sammy. That's next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Sure, Sammy along with you. Charlie Putsick, it's coming up in less than 5 minutes. Sammy, I'll tell you, I don't know if it was divine intervention that you just played this song or what, but you're playing Eminem. My entire Instagram, TikTok algorithm has been full of Eminem facts and history over the last couple of days. That is one of the most fascinating human beings who's ever walked this planet.
M's the man, dude.
I always really liked his music, but understanding what he had to go through to get that music out and the risk that Dr. Dre was taking, bringing him under his wing.
You know, Dr. Dre said the only two artists he's ever signed off a mixtape was Eminem and 50 Cent.
And the fact that Eminem did not give a rat's ass about album sales his entire way up, all he cared about was getting approval from the rappers who he at the time were ahead of him and then blowing straight past them. Like Eminem is a sports story more than he is a music story. And that's what I kind of love about him.
Yeah, M's got a catalog that like, and if you look through his whole thing, like to come on the scene and be like the next superstar rapper and then kind of have a little bit of a dip. And like, that's off that album. He's talking about how his last album didn't sell very well and wasn't great. Like he's got a great story.
He's a cool guy. Marshall Mathers.
8 Mile, one of the great movies of all time.
I do love that movie and he won an Oscar. He's an Oscar winner too. But Sammy, much like B-Rabbit.
You know what just really reminded me?
Tell me.
You kind of remind me of his friend Cheddar Cheese.
Gosh, darn it, Sammy.
Does it?
Cheddar Cheese, the guy who shot himself with the gun with his own.
Yeah. You're the guy. You're there though. Your moral support right off the stage.
Is it Cheddar Bob? I don't think it's Cheddar Cheese.
Cheddar Bob. You kind of remind me of Cheddar Bob.
Yeah,
that's
I got
crazy.
A friend named Cheddar Bob who shot himself in his foot with his own gun. Oh God, that movie's good. Watch 8 Mile if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic. And Eminem's actually a really good actor too.
By the way, come to our YouTube and comment because our text line is giving us fits right now. That's why we haven't read any texts off it. But come to our YouTube on San Diego Sports 760. We would love to hear you call Fletch Cheddar Bob or a sexy Max Muncy. Either one, I think is very valid.
Why can't I just be myself? Why can't I just be
myself
for once? Long shots got a little shaky last night. In fact, our first comment on YouTube of the day was from our buddy Tyler, who had a great pick, I thought, which was Zion Williamson's over on points and rebounds last night. Well, Zion went to the locker room minutes into the third quarter with a case of the rumble guts. This is from Tyler, not from me. Must have had some bad gumbo before the game. Is that what happened? Is that why Zion had like 8 points and rebounds last night?
He got hurt early. Remember,
was he having tummy troubles or was he actually hurt?
The greatest, I'm trusting Tyler on that, but the greatest quote of all time of any sports analyst ever was when Stephen A said, Zion will literally eat the table.
Literally.
There are chefs with an APB out on Zion Williamson in New Orleans.
All right, Sammy, we need a winner here. So why don't we get this thing fired up? Go ahead, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Say that to me and his man.
With long shots.
Apparently the Pelicans did say it was due to illness, so maybe he did have bubble guts, and that's why he missed most of the second half.
Bro, Zion, what are you doing to us? All right, we're gonna get the Lakers discount. Luka Doncic lightning bolt discounted from 32.5 points to 26.5. The Clippers have played really good ball recently. They are coming off a loss where they got blown out by Chicago. Chicago scored 135 points and had a great shooting night. But Luka, I think it's going to be a very close game. But Luka's going to show out in this one. He's played very well in his matchups this year against the Clippers. He's going to hit that lightning bolt more than 26.5. All right, Philly, Houston, really fun matchup. Two teams with legit championship aspirations in both conferences. Reed Shepherd, young guard out of Kentucky. He is the sharpshooter for the Houston Rockets. He comes off the bench. He's the sixth man. More than 10.5 points for Reed Shepherd. They got to match the shooting of Quentin Grimes, Tyrese Maxey. Kelly Oubre's been playing well for Philly. They're going to have to go a little bit more small ball to compete with Philly in this game. Reed Shepherd's going to get more minutes, more than 10.5 points for Reed Shepherd. Jonathan Kuminga, Dallas, Golden State, more than 12 points. You see what happens when Jonathan Kuminga gets time? And it sucks that he's getting time because Jimmy Butler ripped his ACL. Jimmy Butler, one of the great players in the league today. But in his first game where he gets minutes, he scores 20 points. I mean, I don't know how hard this is for the Golden State Warriors to understand. Play Jonathan Kuminga. Jimmy Butler's injury is forcing him to have to play. They're going to have to leave Kuminga out there a lot because of Christie, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington. There's a lot of good forwards that Dallas brings to the table. So he will be scoring more than 12 points tonight. And my last pick, of course, we got to have a tennis pick in here. Coco Gauff, taking on Haley Batiste. Coco Gauff, less than 18.5 total games. If we remember, she struggled at the U.S. Open. She had a new serve coach. She fixed her serve right before the U.S. Open, which was not something that a lot of people would recommend. And it really kind of sold her in that tournament, the last major last year. She's fixed that heading in the Australian Open. I think she makes quick work of Haley Batiste, more or less than 18.5 total games. So to recap, Luka Doncic, more than 26.5 points on the Lightning Bolt. Jonathan Kuminga for the Golden State Warriors, more than 12 points. Reed Shepherd, more than 10.5 for the Houston Rockets. And Coco Gauff, less than 18.5 total games.
I'm not even kidding right now. This is the most confident I've ever been in one of your lineups.
Really?
This is going to smash. It's going to smash hard.
I like it. I like this lineup as well.
Thank you. Now stop calling me Cheddar Bob. See, I was just nice to you, so now you need to return it and be nice to me.
The YouTube's calling you Cheddar Bob.
No, YouTube. Jay Silves was correcting you for calling him Cheddar Cheese. That's not his name. It's Cheddar Bob.
I'm just saying, you reminded me of Cheddar Bob. Cheddar Bob was a loyal dude. Cheddar Bob was there for him through all of it. Dude.
Cheddar Bob shot himself in his foot with his own gun
because he was
accident.
excited. He was looking out for M.
All right, we're gonna take a break.
Get rid
here.
of Papa Doc.
Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 is coming up next. His real name is Clarence. If you want to win a pair of tickets to go see Charlie Puth in concert at Viejas Arena on April 22nd, call now 877-767-4760. You can buy tickets at Ticketmaster.com, but if you want to win them, call right now, 877-767-4760. Why don't we go caller number 8 in honor of 8 Mile? How about we do that here today?
Shout out to Eminem in this segment.
Shout out to M. San Diego Sports 760. Take a quick break here. Back with hour 2 next, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by eBay. The Pittsburgh Steelers have interviewed Mike McCarthy for their head coaching vacancy, and Brian Flores signed a contract to remain as the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. There are opt-outs in his deal should he get an NFL head coaching job where he could move on. In the Lake Show, taking on the Clippers, crosstown rivals tonight at 7 o'clock. You hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The Clippers are now a 1.5 point favorite. And before that, the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show will debut on 760 at 6 o'clock. Imagine what you can find on eBay, like a rare hologram trading card that you become totally obsessed with, shiny like the designer handbag of your dreams. eBay has it. They even have the perfect parts that will fit your car. Millions of finds, each with a story. Find it at eBay.
It's hour number 2 here on Cheddar Bob Zone as we get you ready for all things in the sports world. CB, what up? That's me. No, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Was that Eddie who just won those Charlie Puth tickets?
Eddie's going to the show.
How about it? Eddie, you are going to see Charlie Puth, VA House Arena. We'll have more tickets for you tomorrow. Still this hour to come. We have a pair of tickets for San Diego State, Colorado State next Wednesday night at VA House Arena. All right, we really haven't talked a whole lot of NFL today because we've been busy with that Aztecs game from last night with some drama going around the Padres and Major League Baseball. But let's get into some NFL right now because as of today, it's award season, Sammy. The Oscars all just got nominated today. We know what's up for, I think, is Sinners breaking a record? Most Oscar
16
nominations? Most of any movie ever.
You watched Sinners?
I liked Sinners.
It was good.
More Oscar nominations than any movie ever? I don't know about that.
Whoa.
I liked Sinners. It was good.
I'm not sure they're saying it's the greatest movie ever. I think they're saying that with different categories.
Sure.
It was a great soundtrack. It was an interesting movie. It was basically a 2-part film. By halfway through, it takes a totally different shift.
Sure. And I do think it had my favorite individual scene of any movie I saw over the past year.
No. Which one was that one?
Okay, you sicko. I wasn't even talking about Josh Allen. We know you
love Josh Allen, so I'd assume that you'd love that scene too.
I'm talking about the scene where they go through the history of music from that area of the country. I thought it was really cool how they went all the way back to the Native Americans and then brought it all the way up to modern day. Like, that was cool. You pervert. You nasty boy, Sammy. Goodness gracious.
I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, that one's also cool. But when we talk about award season, not only is it about Sinners and one battle after another and some movie called Hamnet that I haven't seen, but I would imagine is about a pig.
Oh, yeah, that's the dude from Gladiator that the girls love.
Okay. Is it about a pig being chased around by a guy with a net?
I think it's like Shakespeare after he died or something. I'm not sure.
Then that's a very strange title for the movie when you consider Hamnet.
Yeah. I didn't watch it.
Okay,
I didn't watch the film.
But also announced today was the NFL postseason award. So we really are in award season. MVP, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, Drake May, Matthew Stafford are all nominated. Anyone really stick out to you there, Sammy, that you don't like being on the MVP list?
Did you say McCaffrey was on that?
Yep.
I'm surprised, and this is not taking a shot at your Niners. McCaffrey's an unbelievable player, and he might be one of the most valuable players to his specific team.
He rushed for 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, caught 102 passes for 924 yards and 7 touchdowns.
If McCaffrey's on there, where's Jonathan Taylor?
That's a great question. I would agree. I would have left Christian McCaffrey off this list if I'm being honest, because he does have something damning against him this year. He only ran for like 3 yards a carry. If we're being completely honest, he was a workhorse this year, but he only ran for like 3 yards a carry. The rest of them all make perfect sense for me. Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, and Matthew Stafford.
It's going to Stafford, right?
I would think so. And I know it's a regular season award, so you have to judge it on the regular season. And Stafford had a rough last couple of weeks of the regular season. That loss to Atlanta was in there. The loss to the Seahawks was in there.
Right. But he played great in that Seahawks game. And the fact that the Patriots have had the 26 years, the easiest schedule ever needs to be taken into account.
Sure.
It's not a shot at Drake May, but when you put up 35 points in the first half against the New York Jets, there needs to be somewhat of a caveat there because the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I would give it to Stafford, I think. Coach of the year, Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Vrabel. Sammy, make your case. Who is your coach of the year in the NFL?
Read those one more time. You got Kyle Shanahan.
Liam Cohen.
Okay.
With the Jags. Ben Johnson with the Bears. Mike McDonald with the Seahawks. Mike Vrabel with the Patriots. And Kyle Shanahan.
It's tough. If you want to go with the upstart, you go McDonald, Johnson, or Cohen. I will give your boy some love, Shanahan. I think having them in a position to even win a playoff game with that defense being that shredded and it really looking like the defense or the team, the season outlook was kind of going to the toilet halfway through when all those injuries came out. I'd actually give it to Kyle Shanahan. They won't because they have voter fatigue, but I would actually give it to Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I think this award is either going to Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen because I think those are more fun stories to get behind. And it is fair. They both did tremendous jobs this season. Ben Johnson is probably the one I would give the edge to, but I don't think there's a single coach on this list who overcame more than Kyle Shanahan overcame this year. And for that, I think he probably deserves it, but I'd agree.
Do we know if the coach of the year, do they count playoffs?
No, everything on here is regular season only.
Because if you're just going regular season, you can make a case for Cohen, but everyone's going to remember the fact that they got bowed out in the first round.
And technically, you're supposed to make it a regular season only award.
There's no way you don't.
Yeah, I don't know that ever actually happens. Comeback player of the year, Trevor Lawrence, who spent a lot of last season injured. Christian McCaffrey, Stephon Diggs, Aiden Hutchinson, and Dak Prescott are the finalists for this. You can make a pretty good argument for all of them.
Really, I think that's a 2-horse race.
Aiden Hutchinson and Christian McCaffrey?
No, not at all. I would say Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott.
Huh. Interesting. We had very different reads on that because Aiden Hutchinson was tremendous this year, coming off a season where he broke his leg.
Fair. Yes. And Hutchinson, I totally get that. But I don't think I would give it to Dak Prescott. I don't think people really appreciate how much Dak Prescott did for that team.
How much time did Trevor Lawrence actually miss the season before? I'm surprised he even qualifies.
He got shut down halfway through, right?
I thought it was later than that in the year. I could be wrong.
I guess if you're going off catastrophic injury, then it'd have to be Dak or Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I would go Dak because Dak reminded everyone that he's a top 10 quarterback when he was in the MVP conversation 2 to 3 years ago. And I think everyone kind of forgot about Dak. And remember, when they traded Micah Parsons, everyone was like, Arch Manning coming to the Dallas Cowboys. And all of a sudden, the quarterback talk of them replacing Dak Prescott is completely quiet now in Dallas.
All right, defensive player of the year, Will Anderson Jr., who was tremendous for the Texans. He had 12 sacks on the year. Nick Bonito for the Broncos, 14 sacks this season. Myles Garrett set a literal record, unanimous choice for All-Pro this year. 23 sacks, 33 tackles for a loss. And he was also last year's or 2 years ago, the defensive player of the year. Aiden Hutchinson and then Micah Parsons. For me, it does feel like it's Myles Garrett and no one else even stands a chance.
I think you have to give it to Myles Garrett.
All right. Offensive player of the year, Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Drake May, and Christian McCaffrey are the finalists.
That one gets tougher.
Everything, dude.
Yeah. How did McCaffrey get nominated for every award?
He's literally nominated in all of these categories. I'd probably go JSN.
I think it's between Puka, JSN, or Bijan. The case for Puka and JSN is their teams are still playing right now, and I know it's a regular season award, but that needs to get taken into account, and their teams were great. Bijan, if you're going off just best pure offensive player,
he is the most special talent in the NFL right now. Him and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Right. I would take Bijan Robinson, but I guess you do have to dock the team for not being in the postseason in that regard. But I don't think that has to do with him. It has a lot to do with the quarterback situation and Michael Penix being hurt. But yeah, I think it'd be between those three.
I think for Jackson Smith and Jigba, the argument is, okay, well, DK Metcalf left. So all the focus was on you in the wide receiver
room. Right, and he
room.
outperformed what DK Metcalf did the year before.
Exactly, and he put up stupid numbers all year long. Defensive rookie of the year, Abdul Carter for the Giants. James Pierce Jr., Xavier Watts. Looks like those are the finalists for this one.
Watts is nice.
Yeah, Watts is really good. I feel like Abdul Carter probably gets it, but he had some weird drama in the middle of the season. Remember, he was showing up late for meetings, falling asleep and stuff.
Yeah, and then remember he wanted LT's number before the year.
That's right.
It was odd.
I don't know. I don't have a good read on that one. Offensive rookie of the year. This one is fun. Jackson Dart, Emeka Egbuka, Travion Henderson, who turned it on basically from week 7 on this year. Tet McMillan and Tyler Shucks are the finalists. For me, it's between Travion and Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart for me. What I know, you go to a team that won 3 games. This dude lost Scadaboo, Neighbors, his star left tackle, and Andrew Thomas, and was still out there balling. I think this is all those guys were great. Henderson didn't come on till late in the year. Egbuka hit a wall. Shucks was good, but again, didn't play till halfway through the season. I think it has to be Jackson Dart.
I would probably agree. The only reason I say Travion Henderson gets the edge because he was a part of the reason why the Patriots were winning all those games late in the season. And really, he became the running back 1 for not just the Patriots, but the entire conference, it felt like towards the end of the year. All right, let's get to a big three. It's going to be quick, but those are the award season here in the NFL as we get going on award season in life, it feels like. By the way, Conan is back doing the Oscars, which it just only
feels right.
reason I would even consider watching the Oscars.
Obviously.
All right, Sammy, go ahead, smash it.
Conan needs his late night show back.
He does.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
It's so funny. Travis Dale and I, we did the KGB show by ourselves this morning because Rich is injured and Kat has meetings all day long. And so it was just the two of us. So we talked a bunch about the Oscars. TD watched none of them. In the movies he actually started, he turned off within 5 minutes because that's what he does.
You can't give a movie 5 minutes and turn it off.
That's what I'm saying. But Travis Dale, he says, no, I hate every Martin Scorsese movie. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's silly, man. He's drinking the silly juice all the time.
What's his least favorite Martin Scorsese movie?
He says all of them are terrible. I'm like, you didn't like The Wolf of Wall Street? And he's like, I watched 10 minutes of it and hated it.
I can't, first off, Travis Dale of all people, I can't imagine not liking The Wolf of Wall Street.
Thank you. And how about like Goodfellas? Yeah. Nah. TD's silly. But we were talking about one battle after another. And I'm like, and I told him this straight up. I was like, you're going to not like the first 10 minutes of it. You got to get through it. And it's phenomenal. I really liked one battle after another. I thought it was really good. But you got to get through the first 10 or 15 minutes. He watched 10 minutes of it and passed out. But Sammy, you haven't seen it yet.
I'm actually going to watch it in the next day or two.
That needs to win Best Supporting Actor from Benicio del Toro. And it probably needs to win Best Picture. I thought it was really well done, man. That movie's a walking anxiety attack the entire time.
Shout out to the GOAT, DiCaprio.
He was okay in it.
Okay. All right. Well, I haven't seen it, so I'll get back to you on it. Rex Ryan and Nick Wright have floated Bill Belichick to guess where? The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. I get it.
What? Oh, because of Bill Belichick.
His name's Bill.
That I almost need to dump that.
Yeah, I saw this yesterday. Sure. I feel very similarly that I do to Mike McCarthy.
I think this would be a horrible hire.
I think it'd be bad.
If you're Josh Allen, you want someone who's going to grow with you and have a new, young coaching offensive mind. Bring Daboll back. Cliff Kingsbury. There's a ton of names you could get after. If you're going to go with a defensive head coach, get Brian Flores. Bill Belichick is 73 years old. Josh Allen's 29. At most, even if, let's say, Bill Belichick's great, let's say best case scenario, he coaches 4 or 5 years. Halfway through his career, from now to the end of his career, Josh Allen, they'll be looking for a new head coach. What is it with these franchises going back to what used to be? Bill Belichick 20 years ago was best coach in football. Mike McCarthy was a great head coach in football 15 years ago. You have to find the next young mind. You have to find the next great head coach. And if you really can't trust that your department, your scouting department can find that guy, then honestly, you guys shouldn't be working in the NFL. And there's a real question why Brandon Beane got promoted to begin with. I can't believe that this is getting thrown out there. I get it from Rex Ryan.
The Bills haven't talked about it or acknowledged it. There's no report actually linking them. It was Ryan saying they should be going after Belichick.
Right. And it makes sense because Rex Ryan got pounded by him, twice a year.
Rex Ryan likes feet. True story. What's next, Sammy?
Lakers Clippers tonight on 760. Hear that game right here. The Clippers, though, started awful and all of a sudden been winning all these games. 2 different 6-game win streaks in the last month and a half. Question is this. The Lakers have slipped in the standings a little bit despite being on a 2-game win streak. Who has the higher upside in the postseason if both make it?
I mean, you look up and down the Clippers lineup and you feel like you got more impact players over there than you do in Los Angeles right now. Los Angeles just has the better top end. Would you agree with that? Like Luka might be the best player in all of basketball, but it does feel like the Clippers have the deeper rotation. And if you get a healthy Kawhi in the end of the season, which who knows if that could actually happen, but he went on a 4 or 5 game stretch over the last month and a half where
he was averaging like 35 points in those games.
Yeah, it was like Kawhi's back to being the best player in basketball again. And he has that ability to turn that on. So if by the end of the year you have a healthy Kawhi to pair up with the guys like Zubac and James Harden, and you can kind of have everybody working together well at the end of the season, I do feel like the Clippers are the bigger threat.
I'm going to roll with my Lakers. I think it's close because the Lakers problem is one thing. They don't play defense. I mean, it's the problem. Now, I'll give them credit. They gave 71 points in the first half against Denver the other night, held the Nuggets to 35 in the second, and was fantastic there. They shut down Toronto on Sunday night, holding them to 93 points, and the Raptors have been good. the top end of the Lakers is just better at this point in their career. Even though Harden and Kawhi are having big seasons, Luka, LeBron, and Reeves are a dynamic trio that a lot of people just can't score with. But the problem is, if you're looking at the Lakers, is where's the bench production? It's so finicky. It's Jake LaRavia has some nice nights. Then Gabe Vincent has some nice nights. Drew Timme, actually, the former Gonzaga player, has really kind of come on as of late. But there's not consistent bench production from the Lakers. If I'm Coach JJ Redick, I'm moving Rui Hachimura to the bench and trying to add some offensive output coming off the pine. But both teams are interesting if they get in. I don't think either team is competing for a championship unless they go get serious help. They both need 3-and-D defenders, so they'll both be in the market. But the Lakers have a lot longer runway with Luka Doncic and LeBron about to leave the team, whereas the Clippers, with
Did you say LeBron about to leave the team?
Well, I think in the offseason, I think he's done.
Oh, I was going to say. I thought you were talking about the trade deadline.
Oh, well, we'll see. All the Genie stuff's interesting. We got Sliwa on at 1:30. We'll ask him.
That's the first question. Is LeBron going to be a Laker come 3 weeks from today?
My guess would be yes, but
Same.
All I'm going to say is I would not be surprised if a week from now.
Dude, the timing is crazy with the Rich Paul podcast, with Genie all of a sudden coming out and talking about how LeBron's not grateful enough. The King isn't grateful enough.
It's funny because before we get to break, LeBron is on the Clippers timeline. The Clippers timeline, because of their age, Harden and Kawhi, they don't care about the future. They're trying to win now. LeBron wants to win now, while the Lakers are looking out for Luka and Reeves in the future. So it's a weird crossroads.
Now you got Kawhi dealing with the knee again. He hasn't played in the last couple of games.
Kawhi, he's going to play tonight, but yeah. Kawhi with the knee, man. What could have been with Kawhi Leonard's career if he wasn't injury prone?
Talking about top 5 all time. And that's not even a hyperbole or exaggeration.
It's fair. That'd be a fair.
He's already one of the best finals performers of all time. Imagine if he was healthy or non-load managing for his entire career. It could have been very, very different. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. On the other side, we got some Aztecs basketball tickets for you to give away, plus some more reaction from last night's loss to Grand Canyon. And then, yes, Alan Sliwa is going to be coming on at 1:30. Plus, we got some beef. We got some drama, Sammy.
Beef in the fight world.
Going down in the UFC. Let's hit it on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, who challenged us, or who just made learning fun? Sammy, who was your one teacher in your life?
Profe Musico, the GOAT, Miss Ellis as well. Shout out to you.
How about it? Shout outs for Sammy's teachers. Well, now is your chance to say thank you, Sammy. So you could go over to iHeartRadio.com/teachers. You could nominate them right now, nominate an outstanding public school teacher to win $5,000 to stock their classroom up with whatever they need. Congrats to Jennifer, who teaches at a middle school around town, and folks told us she encourages critical thinking, teamwork, and confidence, helping students explore real world finance and strategic problem solving. I need that, Jennifer.
I'm about to say, maybe she could come help the show out. Strategic problem solving.
Yeah, and finance problems.
She can help me learn how to say strategic.
Strategery. But just Jennifer, you are in the running to win $5,000 for your classroom, and you in the car right now, you can nominate your favorite teacher at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Did Rich McGuire just say it's Ernie Martinez's birthday today?
Oh my!
I didn't know that.
What a awful oversight. We will amend this by the end of the show today. I promise you that. So Alan Sliwa's coming up in a little bit. We got Aztec tickets to give away by the end of the show. Damn it, San Diego! You're gonna hear that laugh. I promise you. Even if we have to cold call him a few times. I love Ernie Martinez. I apologize. I forgot your birthday, Ernie.
Happy birthday to the Big Earn.
But happy birthday to the Big Earn. All right, before we get to Alan Sliwa and the Los Angeles Lakers and whether or not LeBron James is going to be traded, there is some beef going down in the UFC right now. So a lot of you might not know who Ariel Helwani is. He has been
great reporter.
He's phenomenal, man. You talk about like the Adrian Wojnarowskis back when he was doing basketball, or the Adam Schefters. Ariel was that for the UFC. Is that in a lot of ways, but he was that back when the UFC contract was with ESPN, and he had his daily talk show on ESPN as well.
Right. Well, and him and Dana White had a falling out.
Now, he still does podcasts talking about mixed martial arts. He's still very much in that world, and he's calling Dana out. He's essentially saying that Dana White wasted Michael Chandler's career. Michael Chandler, who's now 39 years old, who at different times over the last couple of decades, Michael Chandler has been a fan favorite in the United States of America. He's one of the rare American UFC fighters who could really work his way all the way up to the top. Now, we've had 2 fights between Chandler and McGregor. Is that right?
That were postponed.
But they've fought each other before, haven't they, or no?
No, they never fought.
Really? What am I thinking?
No. You're thinking of Nate Diaz.
Maybe.
They've never fought, but they were going to make that fight for Conor's return fight. And because, Conor's got a list of transgressions for a multitude of
including steroids, including court cases,
assault. There's a lot of stuff going on there. This fight has been postponed, and there's been a lot of talk about they're going to make the fight again. And Conor McGregor, for whatever you want to say about the UFC, is still the cash cow, and he hasn't fought in 4 or 5 years since Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, the UFC's problem is they lack stars. And Ben, you just made the point. Michael Chandler, they lack American stars. They lack Americans who are selling massive pay-per-views. Khabib Nurmagomedov was a fantastic fighter. He didn't sell pay-per-views in the United States. Merab doesn't sell pay-per-views in the United States. Now they're going away from the pay-per-view model, but you need someone to sell. That's why they've really heavily promoted Sugar Sean O'Malley, heavily promoted Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, all these guys trying to kind of make them the next star. But it's a shame that Michael Chandler's career was really put on hold by a couple of years by him getting that Conor fight. It's kind of the worst thing that ever happened to his career because it's been just halted so bad for so long.
Yeah, we could have seen Michael Chandler fighting over the last couple of years.
And that would have been a great all-action fight.
For sure. And we'll see. So it's not going to be the White House fight. Is that what the latest news is?
Well, no. Dana White said he doesn't want to put John Jones and Conor McGregor because who knows if they'll show up.
Which is valid on Dana's part. Have you met a flakier 2 athletes over the last couple of years than John Jones and Conor McGregor? Right, Conor McGregor may not even be allowed to fight in it, and John Jones, at the drop of a hat, can text you and say, "I'm not feeling like it."
Yeah, you can't expect these. There's a lot on the fighter to make weight. There's a lot of discipline. Obviously, you're stepping into a combat sports arena to make weight, and when you can't trust that these guys can stay away from trouble outside of the ring or the octagon, and then even make weight, you have these problems. The UFC badly needs an American star that sells.
I'll put it this way: the UFC is probably pumped that Patty and Suga are both on the fight this weekend, but the UFC should never have to put the 2 of them on the same card.
Right?
They would love to be able to spread them out. They were hoping that they would never have to do something like this because they both could carry their own card, but unfortunately, we just haven't gotten to that point yet. So for the first one on Paramount Plus, it's going to be awesome because we get to see both these guys fight. But the fact that they're not on their own headline event is kind of crazy. All right, we got Alan Sliwa coming up next. Alan Sliwa, who covers the NBA as well as the Los Angeles Lakers. There's been plenty of drama in Lakerland over the last 48 hours or so. Let's get to the bottom of it with Alan coming up next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by the West Automotive Group. The Lakers taking on the Clippers tonight at the Intuit Dome. Clippers are currently a 1.5 point favorite. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 7 o'clock, right after the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show at 6. And big news out of Major League Baseball, star pitcher Freddie Peralta is on his way to the New York Mets, and the Nationals former Padre Mackenzie Gore is on his way to the Rangers in a 5-for-1 trade. The West Automotive Group in San Diego's largest independent automotive and transmission service and repair facility. Get a no-charge AAA 40-point inspection with any other service or report or repair. Book an appointment now at westautomotivegroup.com.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy mentioned it, but the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. Curious to see what John and Coach get into about that last second play last night at Grand Canyon in San Diego State's eventual 1-point loss. But right now we focus over to Lakers basketball. You'll hear them tonight on San Diego Sports 760 starting at 7 o'clock. And to break down the Lakers better than anybody else can in the world, on the planet, Alan Sliwa, the host of Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa on YouTube. Find him there and follow along as he breaks down the entire Lakers season. But Alan, not necessarily what's on the court right now with the Lakers that is most interesting, because once again, there seems to be drama with the Buss family, with LeBron James. Why don't you go ahead and talk us through what's happening right now between Jeannie, LeBron, and anonymous sources that seem to be jumping into everything?
Yeah, I mean, first off, appreciate you guys having me on. I think what you said there in the beginning is probably the most important thing, just drama, things that have nothing to do with the basketball floor, have nothing to do with the game tonight between the Lakers and the Clippers. And just kind of, again, it's a unnecessary distraction, but that kind of comes with the territory. Obviously, when the Lakers sold for $10 billion, it gives you a little bit more insight, a little bit more details of why the Buss family decided to sell to Mark Walter. And I think as we kind of sit here today, by the time we get to the post-game show, there's going to be questions that go to LeBron James, questions about some of the, the reports and Jeannie getting, however you want to look at it, in regards to LeBron and his camp. And, obviously what that perception was over the last couple of years. But I think, at the end of the day, it literally does nothing for the Lakers. It doesn't help them at all. I think most of the storylines are about something that's already been done in the past. Jeannie Buss will not be part of the future for the Lakers, however long however long she's governor for. LeBron's towards the end of his career. So yes, a lot of things that are more drama about the past and nothing to do with the present.
What do you make of the power struggle it feels like between Rich Paul and LeBron and Jeannie Buss? Like, Rich Paul floats a trade Austin Reeves and Jaren Jackson Jr. a couple weeks ago. Now to what you just said, Jeannie Buss, the reports of she offered LeBron a deal in 2022. Do you think we're going to hear anything around the trade deadline of possibly LeBron getting moved?
I really don't, Sammy. I think this is, it makes for good conversation and it makes for good drama, but I just don't think there's substance. Where is LeBron going to go? Where is he going to accept the trade? What would the Lakers get back in return? What team wants to take on, Bron at this stage of his career at 41 years old in his 23rd season in the NBA? I don't think anything happens between now and the NBA trade deadline. In regards to the power struggle or whatever the case is, I mean, if we were having this conversation a couple of years ago, then I think it's a much more relevant conversation. Here's the reality. LeBron's going to play out the rest of this season making $52 million. And then whatever happens from there, I think new ownership will have their fingerprints on it. And I have a difficult time thinking that the power struggle or, the who has leverage here, leverage there. These are two entities that are kind of towards the end of their time with the Lakers.
When you talk about LeBron James and Alan Sliwa joining us here, host of Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa on YouTube, subscribe there. But when you talk about LeBron, I feel like the play sometimes becomes background because he's been doing it so long and so consistently. But there is a drop off in play, Alan. But you look at the numbers from last night, he had the second best point differential on the team. He had 19 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Like, it's not like he's gotten to the point where he's hurting the team. It's quite the opposite, actually. But once Austin Reeves comes back, is LeBron falling back into that third role on this team? And what have you seen from his actual play this year?
Yeah, I think LeBron's got the ability to, whatever you need him to do, he's going to do it. The only difference for LeBron in his entire career, he was always the quarterback. He was always kind of the head of the snake. And this is the first time in his career where he's not. You could go back to last year, obviously, when Luka became a Los Angeles Laker. To be honest with you, I think he's adjusted his game fine. I think he hasn't come out and, been complaining that, oh, well, everything's not running through me or anything like that. I think for LeBron's sake, you want Austin Reeves to come back. You want Austin Reeves to take on as much of a burden as he can. What you want LeBron to be is 41 years old and trying to kind of pace himself for when the postseason comes. So, no, I don't think LeBron's got an issue when Austin Reeves comes back. I think areas where he's hurt the Lakers, there's times you could look at all right, how many turnovers does he have? By the way, you could make the same case with Luka. Luka, too many turnovers. Of course, LeBron's not going to be the same defender as he was 3, 4, 5 years ago. There's going to be areas of his game there where you can't depend on him on the defensive side. So have there been some areas that he struggled in? Sure, but that's what you expect from a 41-year-old.
What do you make? So the Lakers all season long have been really rough defensively. Last couple nights, though, they gave up only 93 points to Toronto and then had a terrible first half against the Denver Nuggets, but really kind of buckled down in the second. Do you think the defense, they have it in them to just be better, or does this team have to be super aggressive at the trade deadline if they want to be serious contenders?
Yeah, I think, whatever they accomplished over these last couple of days has been great. But, here's the reality. Reality is they're still 26th in the NBA in defense. And do I think they can put together a consistent 48-minute, go through a 2-week stretch or a 1-month stretch where you're like, hey, that's a really good defensive team? Not with the personnel that they have. They can have some signs of showing that they could play some D, but tonight will be a good example. If Kawhi plays, you got a Clippers team that's been playing much better basketball. I need to see a 2-week to 1-month stretch where there's significant improvement rather than 1 or 2 games where let's use Denver's game as an example. The best player in the world wasn't playing and they're missing 3 starters total. So give them credit for what they did against Denver, but it's tough to kind of take that and say, hey, they figured something out.
All right. If you were doing a little pregame show for tonight's game between the Lakers and the Clippers, what are some keys?
I think for the Lakers, they got to have balance. That's one of the issues with the Lakers. They depend so much on Luka. In the games that they do win, it's the games where DeAndre Ayton got you 15 and 10. Rui Hachimura got into double digits. Marcus Smart is involved offensively for the Lakers. I think the games they're most effective is when you got 4 or 5 guys that are contributing outside of Luka or with Luka and LeBron, but it's not all dependent on those 2 players. And then I think the other thing that we were talking about, what do they look like defensively? Because the Lakers have a tendency when they lose to get blown out, number one. And number 2, it's a simple math game. To outscore a team 125 to 130 is just not a good equation. So do they play defense? Do they get others involved? Is it a complete team effort, or are you depending on one guy? ISO basketball doesn't work in the NBA. As great as Luka is, it won't work for the Lakers as well. So those, I would say, are some of the keys for me.
There's been some reports the Lakers are going to be bargain shopping at the trade deadline and kind of looking for next year. Do you think they're going to pursue some 3-and-D? Like, do you think the next 3 weeks determine how aggressive they'll be at the deadline, or do you think it's kind of set in stone?
No, I think, listen, I think they're going to, if it's up to them, they want to make a deal. They want to go get a 3-and-D player. They want to try to find somebody that can help them this season, but also a player that can help them with Luka for the next couple of years, potentially Luka and Austin Reeves for the next couple of years. But I also think they only have what they have. So if one first rounder isn't enough to go get what you're looking for, or expiring contracts aren't enough to go get what you're looking for, then I think the Lakers, if they're smart, they will. And I think that front office, we'll find out about the front office, but we'll find out also about new ownership. If the deal is not there to be made, then you know what? Then keep your first rounder. You have 3 first rounders in the offseason. I don't think anybody's saying right now the Lakers are one move away from contending for a championship. So I think they got to keep that in mind. There's certain teams where you go all in, and I don't think the Lakers are one of those teams at this trade deadline that goes all in.
Find Alan on YouTube, Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa, breaking down a bunch of NBA action and reaction to every single Lakers story that comes out. Alan, thanks for your time, man. Hey, did you happen to catch the end of the Aztecs game last night?
No, I know that. I know the score, and I know obviously that they lost, but I did not catch the end of the game last night.
A brutal, and I'll send you the video, brutal missed call by officiating. Actually, they called the foul, but San Diego State drops a 1-point game to Grand Canyon because GCU was able to shoot free throws at essentially the buzzer to win that game. And I'll send you the clip so you can react to it, but it's pretty bad, man.
Well, that's college basketball and bad refereeing. Those seem like a perfect marriage.
Yes, they do.
That's not the first time, last time we'll see that.
Absolutely not. All right, Alan, you have a great day, man. Thank you for your time.
All right, fellas. Thank you.
Alan Sliwa joining us there. Find him on YouTube, Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa. And as you scroll through his page, you'll see a familiar face too, because Sammy Long pops up on quite a few of these videos over on Alan's YouTube page. How about that?
Yeah, check out the I do preview videos of every game. So if you're a Laker fan, come check it out.
Sammy just cheating on me day in and day out. Can't even believe it.
I would never cheat on you, Fletch.
It's okay. I do a totally different show here at iHeart every single morning. So.
Yeah. I keep thinking about this Cheddar Bob thing. And Fletch really doesn't like it at the break. He's like, don't call me that. I'm like, I like the nickname. If
no,
Cheddar Bob is loyal, dude.
He's dumb. He's stupid.
He's not dumb. He's a loyal friend who's sitting stage side on 8 Mile and he's pulling for B Rabbit to pull the comeback.
So most of the people from 8 Mile are like people with significance in Eminem's life. You know, Cheddar Bob was a totally made up character, literally just to be comic relief and be the dumb guy in the movie. That's what you think of me, Sammy?
No, I think you're a loyal friend.
Jeez Louise, man.
Cheddar Bob, baby.
All right, coming up next, we're going to close this thing up. I might strangle Sammy, and it'll all go well, so don't miss it. Right now, Aztecs tickets to give away. Coming up next week, Wednesday night, Colorado State at Viejas Arena. If you want to win tickets, call 877-767-4760. You can go to the game. How about caller number 23? Let's make Sammy work, so we're going with LeBron's
23.
number. 23, Sammy. That's what you get for the Cheddar Bob insults.
Oh, my Lord.
Start answering some phones. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 for a final time today. It is Ben Fletcher and Sammy Long. Hey, reminder tonight, we got a busy night on 760. 6 o'clock, it's the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show. Dutch is going to sit down with John for about an hour, talk about last night's loss at Grand Canyon and more. The Brian Dutcher Coaches Show every Thursday night at 6 o'clock right here on your home for the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. And then right after that, Lakers, Clippers, big one in the West. That's at 7 o'clock tonight. You'll hear it here on 760. All right, before we get out of here today, I did want to make note of one thing. The Mountain West, good riddance, by the way, but the Mountain West, after every single basketball, football, every game, they put out on their official Twitter account, YouTube account, Instagram account, they put out highlight reels of a basketball game, football game, whatever it is. Now, I just, during this last commercial break, went back and was watching through the highlights from last night's San Diego State Grand Canyon game. Can anyone tell me what was missing from the Mountain West highlight reel from last night's basketball game between San Diego State and Grand Canyon?
Maybe a certain foul call that directly impacted the Aztecs losing.
Oh my goodness. Was that missing? That wasn't on the highlight reel?
Well, it wasn't. So it's nice. Like most conferences do condensed games. So if you're busy, miss the game, you can watch it in like 5-10 minutes. They went from the Reese Dixon Waters layup to go ahead.
Saw that. That was a big moment.
To just the game-winning free throws and left out the most critical 50 seconds of the game.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I am positive. I promise you, Brian Dutcher, Dave Velasquez, you're not going to hear them say it out loud, but I promise you that film has been sent to the Mountain West. And I would hope that somebody's apologizing, because you're not just dealing with one loss. Like San Diego State still has a cushion. Everybody else has 2 losses in the Mountain West, but you're not just dealing with that. Like, this is season long, legacy defining, bonus structuring stuff that got effed up last night.
Well, it's like the Aztecs had a prime opportunity to steal one of these road games. We were talking about it. Grand Canyon, tough road test. New Mexico, tough road test. You know, Utah State's going to be a tough road test. And although the Aztecs, it wasn't a bad performance. Like, you lose by 1 in a tough road environment. We're not going to sit here and blast the Aztecs.
No, they moved up in KenPom.
They moved up, but it's just, it's a shame to a game that was that close to end on a ticky-tack foul call that, honestly, if it wasn't in Grand Canyon, and I'm like you, I'm not sitting here trying to blame the refs. I'm not usually that guy, but if that game was not in Phoenix, are they getting that call? I don't think so.
And ultimately, like, this is on San Diego State. BJ Davis missed 2 big free throws last night, one on an and one, and then one on the 1-and-1. He missed the front end. That's what allowed Grand Canyon University to win that game. That is what allowed it. But what also happened is the refs took that opportunity, man, and just shoved it right back up all of our faces. So it's frustrating. It is. And literally at this point in Brian Dutcher's career, he's judged differently. He's no longer the San Diego State head coach where if they have a one-off good season, great. No, Brian Dutcher is judged on NCAA tournament appearances.
Right,
now.
they're moved into the territory of a premier basketball program that people look at with the Kansas, the Dukes, North Carolinas. They're ascending into that territory.
They are. And I think they're like 3rd in the country over the last decade of wins. And like San Diego State has moved past the point of just, oh, maybe they'll have a good season in a couple of years. No, this was catastrophic last night is what it was. And man, it's still ticking me off here 24 hours later. All right, we're done for the day. John Schaefer is coming up next. Maybe a little J-Riff in the mix today as well. So enjoy the next few hours of programming before we get to the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show. It's San Diego Sports 760. I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Thank you for being here. We will be back with you tomorrow. Till then, see ya.